Hey there, Shakers. Welcome to another episode of Worth Your Salt, the podcast that's here to supercharge your marketing in the health and wellness space. I'm Jennifer Orechwa, StoryBrand Certified Guide, and over the past 2 decades, my team and I have tested, iterated, and learned what works in marketing, so you don't have to. Now, I'm here to help you apply the marketing systems that truly work. At Salt Marketing, we're all about helping health and wellness practitioners like you build trust, authority, and a nonstop flow of clients. So if you're ready to take your marketing to the next level, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. We all know that communication is key to not just getting, but keeping clients and patients. But with so many platforms available, email, social media, phone calls, it's easy to overlook one of the most direct, personal, and effective ways to reach your clients: texting. Think about it. When was the last time you didn't open a text? Exactly. Text message boasts open rates of over 98%, making it a powerful tool to engage your audience, bringing back existing clients, and even driving foot traffic. Whether you're running a med spa, a CrossFit gym, or therapy practice, texting offers an immediate and personal connection that can help you boost retention, increase bookings, and ultimately grow your business. But where do you start? What should you be texting? And how do you do it in a way that doesn't feel intrusive, but instead strengthens your client relationships? That's where today's guest comes in. Joining me is Bianca Blake, one of the founders of Klickrr, a leading platform that specializes in text-based marketing and communications. Bianca brings over 15 years of global marketing experience, working across industries like consumer healthcare and pharmaceuticals. And in Klickrr, she and her partner have built a platform that has sent millions of messages, helping service-based businesses, just like yours, leverage texting to grow. So whether you're new to SMS marketing or looking to optimize what you're already doing, you're in the right place. Welcome to Worth Your Salt, Bianca. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Jennifer. Thank you so much for having me. It's already been a pleasure. I look forward to talking with you today.
So, Bianca, with your rich background in marketing across various industries, what inspired you to dive into the world of SMS marketing, particularly for service-based businesses?
Well, if I can be completely honest with you, Jennifer, it was almost a mistake. So, like most successes often are, right? Yeah. So, my business partner and I actually set out on a path to help businesses streamline inserting marketing strategy into their marketing programs. What we saw, most of our clients wanted to get straight to tactics and they were skipping over strategy, and the tactics were kind of so-so. So we put together this big software that would integrate with all of these different, platforms. And at the hub of it was some very, basic questions that you could answer that would help with your base strategy, and then it would help you with your tactical execution. And one of the tactics that was part of our original piece of software was SMS. We also had like email, we had SEO, we had all of these different things. And the mantra in our head was keep it simple, keep it simple, keep it simple. So what we did at launch when we had this big, kind of platform before the simplicity kicked in was we put each of the individual parts of the platform on the market in various places for people to say, like, I want to engage with this piece or I want to engage with that piece. And the SMS part of the platform was the only one that got pretty immediate uptick. So that's where the keep it simple kicked in and say, you know what, if this is what the clients want, then why don't we give them what they actually want, right? We can, it's so simple that the text message channel, if you will, is simple that if you have a small bit of strategy, you can actually do it really well. And so we got rid of all of the other parts of our platform, stuck with SMS. So instead of going a mile wide and an inch deep, we did the flip of that and went really deep on this one channel and actually provided a service that most of our customers anyway, didn't even really know that they needed until they found an easy way to get it.
It's fascinating because the market research basically dictated the direction that you went in. So what kind of feedback did you get when you were first putting your really strategic product out into the market?
Well, we got some pretty decent feedback on the strategic given that strategy is one of those grudge purchases, I would always call it that, So as a marketing strategist, it costs money and it's not always as tangible if you don't have the tools you need to implement strategy. So we got positive feedback on the strategic marketing platform, but we got the best positive feedback on the SMS platform, that part of the platform. And the best feedback you can get as a business owner is payment for your service. So there was quite a lot of, can you do this? Can you do this? Can I pay for this? Can I add this? And so it was coming in very quickly in the beginning in a volume that we just weren't expecting, which kind of just said, and instead of us pushing, it's like market research to your point. Let's listen to the customers instead of pushing something that they don't want. Why don't we just give them what they want in a way that is, simple, it's easy to use, and, it actually will help them grow their business, which ultimately was the goal initially anyway. So we went back to our original mission, which was to help them grow their businesses. And we were able to do it effectively, and it even more simpler with our SMS marketing platform.
And when people, when they vote with their wallets, you're onto something for sure there.
Absolutely.
So for our listeners who are new to SMS marketing, or maybe just they're SMS curious for their business, can you break down what makes texting such a powerful thing compared to other forms of communication like email or social media? What makes it effective?
So there's a couple of different things. One is that it's simple. It doesn't require a ton of production. We don't recommend sending MMSs, which are messages that are sent with media like GIFs or videos or images. I mean, images in some cases make sense if you're like a restaurant or if you're a retail clothing store, you need to show a new product. But for the most part, you're sending 160 characters, including line breaks, including spaces, including punctuation. So, it's one of those things. I think it was one of those poets or writers, maybe it was Mark Twain, that says something like, if I wrote a lot of volume, if I had more time, I would have written something shorter. So you actually have to be more thought. I'm sure that's not the way the quote goes.
That's pretty close. If I had more time, I would have written a shorter letter. Yep.
Exactly. So the point here that I'm making is that you have to be more thoughtful when you don't have graphics, when you don't have, pages and pages, or, you're not able to write posts and pages of information. You kind of have to say what you mean, identify yourself, say what you're asking for, and give them a way to engage with you. And I think in this age of snackable content and, headlines that are just sort of, we just read the headlines and move on. I think that most communication, whether you're trying to sell something, encourage someone to do, persuade someone, or whatever the communication is, I think just over time, as consumers of media and of communications, we're just like, get on with it. Just give me the bits that I need so I can move on. So we don't really want to see all the character development sometimes in this big, beautiful advertiser. We just want to know, what does this thing do and where can I go to buy it? And so whether you're looking, if, like I mentioned before, if you're a retailer and you say, hey, I got this new pair of sneakers, click here to find your size, or if you're a healthcare company, like the companies that listen to this podcast, we do really well with supplement companies. They're like, hey, your 30-day supply is running out. Here's a link to buy the next one. So it's that you just get in, you get out, and you don't waste people's time. You're using the channel for the appropriate types of messages. Now, that being said, I will say that even as the founder of a text messaging company, we all recognize at Klickrr that there are some messages that are appropriate for other channels. There are some messages that you need to be in a face-to-face, in-person conversation to have. There are some messages, some communications that make more sense, maybe on a live phone call, others on a video chat, others in an email. There are areas where that makes sense, but you don't want to send something to someone that they needed to get immediately in a medium or in a channel that they're not engaged with in real time. So some things that need to be real time, as long as they're relevant, if you send it to them real time, people will open it and be happy to receive that message. But if this could have been an email, or if this could have been something that we scheduled to talk about in the future, then that's where you start to get people not really wanting to engage with your text messages. So it's very important. This is an age-old marketing communication rule that you match the right message with the right channel.
Yeah, and that's really smart, not putting friction in front of someone when a simple text message might do. I would love to hear some success stories of service-based businesses, brick and mortar, health and wellness, anybody who has really gained success with text marketing and your platform.
What really works well in the health and wellness space is when you have a customer that requires ongoing engagement, right? So whether it's you're calling on, physicians that are using your tool or your medication, et cetera. So we've had some interest from those types of sales teams that are creating relationships in those spaces. We've had, we have customers, like I mentioned before, that are into supplements. So, reminding people on an ongoing basis to make sure that they continue to take their supplements so they get the maximum benefit from them. These are the type of customers that if you send a message, these are people who have opted in to receiving your information, and they already have gone through that know, like, and trust cycle. So they're already in, and this is helping you essentially gently get more, the customer lifetime value kind of goes up if you sort of communicate with them and remind them, if you come by at 2:00 today, we have this going on, or actually we just launched this new product. You may want to give it a try. So think of it as more of your insiders, and it's a relationship building tool. It works really well. So we have, like I mentioned before, our supplement company. They text their customers, as I mentioned, when their supplements are about to run out, and they have about a 1% conversion rate, which means that, say, for every 1,000 messages they send, they get 10 actual orders, not conversion to clicks or conversions to website, but actual orders for everything. So you think if they've got, 10,000 messages going out, that can actually ring the register quite a bit. Mm-hmm. So it's really great for customer retention and driving that customer lifetime value.
So what would you see as a practical example in a service-based business like a med spa where they're offering, specific services? How might that success story play out?
Most service-based businesses are selling. They have a menu of services that they offer, right? We ourselves are a service-based business. So if you are coming in for one service and excited about, again, going through that know, like, and trust cycle, I know that your med spa exists. I've been here before. Surely there's another service that you could be introduced to, or it could be helping with scheduling. That's another feature that we work with our customers on to make sure that the client doesn't miss their appointment. So there's quite a few different ways of handling, making logistics work more efficiently that can drive, better profit because it costs you less money to operate, or actually just getting more people in the door, driving foot traffic and driving interest in additional products. So we would have to kind of sit with the med spa owner and go through, okay, so what is, let's take a look at your clients and where they're engaging. And we would segment the list and say, okay, so for everyone engaging in service number 1, if they don't know about service number 2, this is a good way of introducing them with some sort of promotion and getting them to click on a deep link within your website to learn more, and maybe giving them some sort of promotional offer on, just for the people who are already engaged in service number 1, we're giving you an opportunity for a limited amount of time to engage in service number 2, that kind of thing.
Brilliant. Those are great strategies. All right, Bianca, we need to take a quick sponsorship break right now. But when we return, I really want to talk about the specifics of what we need to be doing to be successful with texting. Stay with us. Hey, Salt Nation, are you looking to accelerate the growth of your health and wellness business without the stress of figuring it out all by yourself? Well, I've got just the thing for you. Introducing the Pinch of Salt newsletter, your go-to source for outstanding insights on building your practice. Twice a month, we'll deliver straight to your inbox the latest on software, solutions, and strategies that will help you serve more clients and grow your business seamlessly. You'll get exclusive content, downloadables, podcast episodes, and more, specifically tailored for practitioners like you who want to thrive. And the best part, it's absolutely free. Just go to saltmarketing.co to sign up. Join Salt Nation today and feel supported by the authority in marketing for health and wellness. Head over to saltmarketing.co to sign up for free. We're back here on the Worth Your Salt podcast with one of the co-founders of Klickrr, Bianca Blake. So Bianca, let's talk about what sets Klickrr apart. What do you believe differentiates your platform from other SMS marketing platforms?
So the simplicity. 1 is it's easy to use. 2, we generally charge less than our competitors. And 3, we offer support. So most technology platforms, from the really, really big ones that you can find, on the stock exchanges, all the way down to your new sort of startup, most tech companies are just that. They're software, they're technology, and may lack when it comes to actual human interaction. So we do have, a chatbot on our website, and we are active in social media and things like that. So we do digital communication as well, but we do not have, like, for example, a knowledge center, or we don't push you to our other clients to ask questions. We are there with our customers the entire way through their onboarding, of their account. We set up their phone number with them. We make sure that they are properly onboarded for the ones that will be using the system themselves. Most of our clients, actually, we will send the messages for them, and we help them craft the messaging, and we help them understand the frequency, so it's just all of the things, going back to strategy, that make your text messaging campaign successful. We are there, and we own that responsibility with our clients. So we consider ourselves to be more partners in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a huge differentiator.
Absolutely. Yeah. And on that same note of really paying attention to the service aspect of it, what are some common mistakes that you've seen come in from service-based businesses when they first start using the platform? How do you guide them toward better practices?
Yeah. So for most service-based businesses, and this is not unique to other, product businesses, most people with text messages are very opportunistic in the way that they want to send text messages, which means that, you have people that say, I want to just download my whole client roster and start texting immediately. I want to text everybody the same thing. Or, we every now and then we get the person that says, hey, can I just download all of my contacts in my phone and send them messages? And we're like, whoa, no, can't do that.
Maybe not.
So exactly. It's very important to know that text messages are actually sent on federally regulated infrastructure across the 50 states. So you cannot be spamming people. That is federally regulated, how you send the messages, et cetera, how you get people to opt in. There are penalties for doing things like that. And over the last couple of years, the government has tightened up on some of those regulations. So it's very important, even though you can actually text someone, get right into their text, they will open it. You want them to open a message that they want to receive. So one of the biggest mistakes is ignoring the compliance associated with texting. This is a permission-based marketing channel. So you do need to get that opt-in first, and you do need to allow a very easy way to opt out, and which is great, right? Because instead of sending 1 million text messages just for 2 or 3 people to engage with your content, rather send 2 or 3 text messages for 2 or 3 people to engage with your content. It's cheaper, and your clients will love you for it.
Mm-hmm. And you've got a lot of experience working with businesses of all different sizes. So I'm wondering how the needs of smaller local businesses like med spas or gyms might differ from organizations when it comes to text-based marketing.
Yeah, so the biggest differences between larger companies like enterprises and more smaller companies is that the larger companies are usually looking to use text messaging as a way to increase their efficiency and therefore profit. Mm-hmm. So they're not as much looking for as a way to drive top line sales. So you see them using it for things like I mentioned, scheduling, multi-factor authentication, logistics, like letting people know if you're a delivery company or if you're like you said, a service-based company and you're about to deliver a service, or you like the scheduling piece of it, I guess would be most appropriate in that case. But like we have some companies that use it for logistics. So they want people to know, I'm not sure if some of these med spas, if they have people that go and do their services in folks' homes and they need to let them know, like, we're on our way, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So the larger companies, that level of logistics, like that real time logistics, can actually help them take the same amount of top line sales and drive a lot more profit. Whereas smaller companies are more saying like, look, if we have 500 customers, that are buying one thing every sales cycle, we can double our business by getting these same 500 customers to buy 2 things, and also to get them to tell their friend to also buy one thing that we can now get to buy 2 things. So the smaller customers are really hyper focused on growth, whereas the larger companies are more hyper focused on profit. That is huge generalization, but that's what we know.
No, but that makes sense is in terms of like, what are your goals for the actual SMS channel? That makes perfect sense. So what are some key elements of a successful SMS campaign, particularly for service-based businesses? What works best to drive foot traffic and bring existing clients back in the door?
We like to say the anatomy of a text message. So I'll start with the actual message itself and then kind of branch into the campaign. So it's very important if you're going to send a text message, regardless of which platform you're using to send it, that you identify yourself. So think about the type of messages that you would receive in peer-to-peer text messaging. Peer-to-peer text messaging is like when you're texting with your friends or your family. Individual people sending messages to individual people, hence peer-to-peer, versus what we're doing with businesses is called app-to-peer, which means there's a service or platform sending these messages, in a lot of cases en masse, to a large group of people. So the overall high-level best practice for A2P texting is that you want to stick to some of the same things that you would appreciate in peer-to-peer texting. So if you imagine if, say, one of your friends got a new phone number and they texted you from their new phone number, you would probably look at your phone with a scrunched up nose and they're like, hey, Jennifer, are you going to be at that thing tonight? You're like, wait a minute, who is this? Right? Yep. So if you think about if a company, if the med spa was texting from a 1-800 number or something like that to one of their most loyal customers without saying, hey, this is Med Spa Inc. So you first need to make sure, it's crucial. I can't emphasize that enough. It will take up some of your precious 160 characters, but you need to, in some way, even if it's an acronym or something, identify yourself. Secondly, you write your message. Thirdly, include a short link. Most of the deep links that will be most valuable to send to your clients are going to be much longer than you want to include and take up valuable space in your 160 characters. So you can use services. We have a feature on Klickrr where we can take a really long, if it's a Google Doc, if it's a form, if it's some deep link in your website or your app, we can shorten that to something that's less than 20 characters, inject that right in there. So it's important. Again, identify yourself, write the message, give them some way to engage, whether it's a website link, a phone number, and then a few characters left for opting out. So that's pretty much the anatomy of a solid text message. Now, as far as building your list and sending campaigns, it's very crucial to have appropriate opt-in. So you can get opt-ins in one of two ways, which sets you up for really great campaigns if everybody is properly opted in. Some good ways of doing opt-ins is if you have a pop-up on your website, that's a way of asking someone for their phone number. If you're doing like a conference, so if you're a med spa and you're going to like a medical conference and you want to sign up some folks that are there, having a way for people to sign up on a list and very clearly when they're signing up, telling them, this is who I am. This is the name of my company. I am requesting permission to send you text messages to this phone number that you're providing me at this level of frequency about this thing. Like it's like four different key pieces and if they're like, yep, no problem. I want to receive weekly text messages or monthly text messages, quarterly text messages to this phone number about promotions from your medical spa or about scheduling. It's important to let them know what you're going to be texting about and the frequency. Another way you can get opt-ins is to use a Klickrr keyword. We call them Klickrr keywords, but to use some sort of word in other word or combination of letters. Mostly it's a word because people can easily remember that combination of letter if it spells something. And you put that in some other part of your marketing mix. Again, using the example of a med spa set up at a nice health and wellness event or whatever. Someone comes over to your table and you have, the word is spa. Text spa to our phone number to be added to our list to hear about when this, new service is going to be available. If the user texts you first, then they are opting in. They reached out to you first. So that's a very easy way to get permission to text someone is for them to be texting first. So this also is a really good way to build your list. So having those are two, different ways of getting opt-ins and using some of the tactics that I mentioned about building your messages will make your delivery rate very high, because you make sure that you're sending messages that will be delivered and your opt-out rates very low. And that's what we want to see.
And you've mentioned to me that you feel that personalization is key. Despite whatever industry, that really doesn't matter, that personalization matters. So how does Klickrr allow service-based businesses like a gym to personalize their SMS marketing so that they can enhance that experience?
When you are sending out a bulk text message similar to bulk emails, we provide the ability to sort of add in the person's name, pull in, specifics about the person from the list if you have either uploaded it or if they provided you that information, and we can help, structure the list in a way where you can say, hi, Jennifer, looking forward to seeing you, tomorrow. Click this link to confirm your appointment. So we can add any sort of personalization, whether it's name, whether it's, some other, we've done this for a company that was doing a survey where we provided each person, we sent thousands of messages and every single person on the list received a different link. So think of you going to log into, if it's your, I don't know if it's a gym app or if it's your healthcare, portal, and you logged in. So Jennifer was able to receive Jennifer's link. Bianca was able to receive Bianca's link, which meant that as they were engaging with that content, they were able to skip over the login and go right into the portal, and it increased engagement significantly. So we can personalize text message campaigns in a myriad of ways.
Very nice. All right, Bianca, it's time for another quick break. We'll be right back after this. You're listening to the Worth Your Salt podcast, and today we're talking with Bianca Blake of Klickrr about how powerful a good texting strategy can be. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so be sure to join us over on Instagram, LinkedIn, or Facebook, and let us know how you're converting and retaining your clients with text messaging. We're back. And so before the break, Bianca, we were talking about the practical uses of texting and how to be successful. I'd like to look a little bit ahead to the future of the strategy. So for any listeners who might be hesitant to dive into text marketing, what advice do you have to help them get started and feel confident in building a successful campaign?
They should do two things. They should have some very just off the cuff, casual conversations with their customers, their more loyal customers and clients, and talk to them about it. Because in one of the research projects that we did, we actually spoke to some high level marketing people at different companies. And one of the main pushbacks, or one of the things that they said kept them from really getting going with text messaging, was they just felt that it was a little bit too intimate, that they would be interrupting people. Their text messages, they might be sending text messages to their children, to their other family members and friends. And they just felt like it was a little bit icky for their brand to be positioned in such an intimate space. And they were like, people wake up, first thing they do is check their phones, and before they go to bed, they take them with them to the bathroom. And like, we don't know if we're able to be that close to them. This is why we're saying that it's not what you do, it's the way you do it. So have those conversations and see how people are feeling about, some folks would rather have an infrequent text message sent to them than download your app, where they now have to log in with a password and, I forgot my password. Like some people say, yeah, just send me the text with the link and I'll go do the thing. But please don't make me download another app to my phone. And if you are already communicating with these customers, whatever channel you're currently using, make sure when you launch your text messaging program that you tell them. So if you're sending out an email newsletter, add to your email newsletter, hey guys, we're starting our text campaign. We're looking forward to it. This will keep you from receiving so many emails from us. We're going to be extra, careful and vigilant, and it won't be super frequent. Just put it out there. If you have videos, the TVs and things like that in your spa, or, flyers, or, make it very clear so everybody is on the same page and it's very transparent at the beginning. Those are just a couple of things you can do to make the transition into texting not have the ick factor.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you talk about that ick factor. I do have a couple of clients who use texting, and sometimes it's two-way texting. And so sometimes we will get replies, and it's things like, can you take the clothes out of the dryer? Or something that's a complete non sequitur, like, sure, I can do that. So, kind of funny that it is that intimate, that you are kind of crawling into people's personal lives there. But speaking of stories, I know you have a lot of success stories, but what are some of the challenges you foresee businesses facing in the coming years as far as customer communication and how they can proactively address those challenges?
That's a great question, Jennifer. One of the biggest things I think companies are gonna be challenged with is the fragmented nature of media. We see this in popular culture when, there were some award shows that happened recently. You might say, wait a minute, this show that's winning for Best Picture, wait, have I even heard of that? What streaming platform is that on? It's really difficult, for big brands to find engagement, if you will, which is why you see a lot of the social media micro influencers. They have a smaller yet very engaged following, and some of these larger brands are trying to find non-traditional ways to get eyeballs on their products, their services, and small companies deal with some of the same challenges. So I think that's going to be the thing moving forward.
And we're seeing in the health and wellness industry, we're seeing people sort of pulling back. There looking for more proof, more trust. They're looking for someone to give them professional advice, not just the latest, greatest flash in the pan sort of thing. So is there strategy around that with text messaging and building trust?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's what I was talking about when it comes to compliance and when it comes to getting those opt-ins, and when it comes to being very careful about what you do with the list of numbers that you've curated and that have opted in. So the opportunistic way of communicating with people. So, you think about a television ad that interrupts the sporting event that you are watching. Culturally, we've been taught to expect that. Or the pre-roll video that interrupts your, if you're going to watch a video online, the video that comes that you can't skip, we've been we may not like it, but it's like, okay, fine. Either I'll pay the money to get the ads to go away, or I deal with these ads. But when it comes to texting, the entire industry, from the providers to the users, the recipients of text messages, we haven't really gotten into this culture of how we expect this to go. So in order for, you just want to be very respectful of, barging into someone's text messages. And as long as you do that, and send people messages that they actually want to receive. For example, if it's an alert, if your med spa is going to be closed or if one of your main estheticians or physicians or whatever it is not available that day for whatever reason, texting their clients and saying, hey, I know you have an appointment today, but it's going to be delayed. Mm-hmm. I would like to receive that message before I get in my car. Mind frame, I'm going to get this procedure done or have, engage with the med spa in whatever type of way. And I get there and I'm disappointed. I would have rather received a text message. Oh, you sent me an email? Too bad. It's in my inbox or my spam folder or whatever. I didn't get that. Needed that. That was a pretty relevant piece of information that I needed to receive in real time. So to build trust, as long as you're sending people messages that they want to receive, then it will enhance the relationship that you have with them. Similar, again, going back to peer-to-peer text messaging. If you have a person that's just constantly starting group chats in your text messages or constantly sending you information that you don't need, you're just like, wait a minute, hey guy, I don't really want to receive this. But if people are sending you things that you actually want, it deepens your relationship and can actually enhance the feelings that you have for them. So similar way with A2P texting.
Yes, brilliant. So if you could leave our listeners with one key takeaway about the power of SMS marketing for their service-based brick and mortar business, what would that be?
I would say you got to think about it a little bit differently. Text messaging is not about sending a million messages just to get one person to engage. It's not about the most amount of impressions. It's about carefully curating a list of highly engaged users and sending them messages that they want to receive. Very different from, your TV, print, out of home, traditional media, which is a good thing.
Brilliant. I love that point. I hope everybody was writing that down. So Bianca, if I want to find out more about you, about Klickrr, or how to get started, where can I go?
Yes, thanks for asking, Jennifer. So you can go to Klickrr.com, which is our company website, to learn more about Klickrr and to, if you're interested in scheduling time with us, we can you can do it from there. You can also find us on some social media platforms. We're on Instagram at Klickrr, Klickrr. That's how you spell the name of our company. Mm-hmm. And also on LinkedIn.
Excellent. And of course, a link to the Klickrr website and everything we've talked about today will also be on our website at saltmarketing.co. But right now, it is time for our lightning round questions. These are a few quick questions that I like to ask of every guest. Bianca, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. So first question is, what's something about you that often surprises people?
I would say how extensively that I have traveled across the continent of Africa.
Oh, very nice. I feel like that should be a separate conversation. That's fascinating.
I have been to probably, I think, 18 of the either 53 to 55, depending on what year it is, countries over there. And yeah, it's a beautiful continent and I love it. I can't wait to visit all the rest of them.
Very cool. All right.
The aha moment when I'm doing a demo and I send someone a text message from our platform and seeing that light bulb go on, it's nothing like it.
Very fun. All right, next question. What is the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
To effectively use the word okay when answering seemingly charged questions.
Okay, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to elaborate. What was the advice?
Yeah, so the advice is just that when, sometimes answering defensively or answering with some sort of agenda can kind of send conversations or relationships, if you will, into a different place. So sometimes okay is neutral. It doesn't mean I agree with you or I disagree with you. It's just okay.
Makes sense. All right. Last question. Who is inspiring you right now? What podcast are you listening to, or what's the best book that you've read recently?
The first answer of who is inspiring me right now, I would say my children are inspiring me. I have a 3-year-old son and a 5-year-old daughter, and the way that they engage with the world around them is very inspiring. Mm-hmm. It is very refreshing to see their new eyes taking anything from a book to a car ride to a day at school. It is very inspiring.
Absolutely. I love that. Bianca, thank you so much for joining me on this week's episode of Worth Your Salt.
Thank you for having me, Jennifer. It was a pleasure.
I also want to thank you, Salt Nation. If you have a great success story, I'd love to talk with you and share your story. So tell us about why you're worth your salt by emailing us at grow@saltmarketing.co. Of course, be sure to subscribe to Worth Your Salt so you never miss an episode. Finally, leave us a review or give the show a handful of stars wherever you get your content. That's all for this episode of Worth Your Salt. Be sure to join me again next time. In the meantime, let's get out there and shake things up.